about US mining and how to get your hands on stuff that is US based, which is not always the easiest thing to do. For me, there's several things that I do frequently carry that I like a lot, that I know the miners and I can get at least some sort of a wholesale price that I can resell it. But one of the issues that we're going to run into is that most US miners are not going to be wholesaling their material. They're going to be mining and selling their material at a retail cost. You'll see a lot of these people at gem shows or markets or things to that nature on Etsy or websites. Some of the rocks that I really like and that I actually do have access to, which have become increasingly more difficult. The problem is with the US, inflation is a real thing, and as time goes by, everything just goes up so much. But pyrite suns are something that I really love coming out of Illinois. Pink halite coming out of California is something that I really like. Barite specimens coming out of California I like a lot. Fluorescent minerals from Franklin, willemite and things like that. Also, you can find a lot of Herkimer diamonds in the United States, which are easy enough to get your hands on. But then when it comes to like the old school mineral collections, if you really want to get your hands on like a US based stuff, and it's happened to me before where I bought stuff from like a mineralogy collection or from a mineralogist or something like that, and they said that it was material from the US or something, but it wound up getting mixed in. Not that they were being dishonest, just that you're relying on people's information, which is one of the tricky things, is that when you are buying directly from miners, you have to kind of rely on their information. And sometimes that can get you into a little bit of a squishy spot. Not all the time do they know exactly what they're talking about. Sometimes they'll tell you whatever they think they want you to hear. Mostly if you want to support US miners, then gem shows is really a place to go to do that. Unfortunately, what winds up happening is that typically US mined stuff, especially private mined stuff, things like topaz or aquamarine or the smoky quartz with amazonite, which I love, peridot, anything like that is going to be called. Actually, Utah has really great septarian, which is so expensive. But again, it's one of those things where pretty much anything mined in the US is going to be really expensive, and that's why we see it in a very niche kind of way. Off topic of that, and what I wanted to really talk about more than that was, let's just say that someone calls us up and they want to sell us a collection of sorts, or they're a miner and they want to get involved in selling us something that's from a mine. It's become very hard nowadays to really believe kind of anything anybody says. It just is, because everyone has the same narratives. Everyone's a miner, everyone's buying from the miners. If I was going to buy rough material from the US, it would also be complicated because my factory is in India, so I would have to ship anything from here to India and then back, and then that just drives the cost up. A lot of people now think that the best way to sell the material or to get an edge in the industry is to say that they're mining the material, or that they are, have a mining contract out on something. They buy directly from the miners. Rarely, if ever, is that the case. You might backtrack down the line. Like I was saying before, there's been times where I was called up or contacted by miners, and then they wind up not being miners. So it's one of those things that's really hard because you have to trust the information you're getting. One of the ways you can wind up trusting a person who's mining is that, one, is there any video? Is there any content of you yourself mining the material? And that's usually the direction I go in if I get contacted by someone new who's like, hey, I'm mining this material. Okay, do you have any videos of you mining that material? This is kind of a direction you might want to go in, is asking some questions. How do I know you mined the material? So for me, as a distributor, I am essentially mining the miners, meaning that I'm buying directly from the miners. For me, I have to contact the miner, or the miner's contacting me, and I want to make sure that I'm getting information that verifies the story that they're giving me. Now, on the back side of it, you can really tell by pricing. Pricing is a huge aspect of it. For me, I've been in the business so long that I typically have a really good gauge as to what the mining price is, the distribution, wholesale, secondary wholesale, retail. So I understand pricing all the way down the line, and I'll know when I'm getting mining pricing. The problem with that also now runs into, was it done ethically? Was there slave labor involved? And this is also another thing where you really need to back that up with video. Especially when dealing with a new miner. For me, I've been dealing with the same people, generations of miners in the same colonies, been doing it forever. Those people, I don't need them to send me a video every time they do something, because I've been there myself, I've verified it myself, I know those people. So for those of us who can't go out there, who are just buying from overseas and taking people's words on it, it might be really interesting for you to try to get your hands on something that verifies the story that you're being given. And one of the things that's really kind of hurtful in this industry now, and one of the things we might not expect to be so true, is that there's a ton of stolen material. and not just stolen material, but people that don't pay their bills. It's way more common than you would imagine. And if you got down to my end of it, where I am a wholesale distributor, I would tell you that, you know, for me nowadays, your material won't ship until it's paid for, because I've been in a situation, especially in the beginning of my career, where people told me, hey, just give me, here's a deposit. Let's just say someone owes you $100,000. Just making up a number, and they give you a $10,000 deposit. Please ship it to me. I'll get you the rest of the money over the course of the next 2 months or something like that. The chances of that actually happening and coming to fruition are very, very low. Make sure you're paid for your material before you ship it, because then you're in a situation where you're gonna have to recoup those funds or chase that person down. And on my side of the industry, what happens a lot is people just disappear off the face of the globe. They create fake companies, they create fake banks, and it happens unfortunately so frequently. So again, one of the things I wanted to say here is that if you're looking for U.S. mined material, then you're most likely going to have to go to gem shows and find U.S. miners. Unfortunately, there's not going to really be much margin on the wholesale side of things. So whatever you're buying, maybe you bought something for $10, you could sell it for 13, 14, even 15 would be like pretty high. So it's one of those things where if you don't know people who are actually looking to mine it to wholesale it, you're not going to have many options. I hope this provided you with some valuable information. I'm here to provide the information. I'll give you whatever I know. I love you. Thank you for listening. See you next time.